Thank you all for coming. This is a special day on so many levels. First of all, just look at all this loveliness, and sitting here with Barclay, and also our new editor-in-chief of designers today at our company, Jane Dagmi. So this is our first outing together. I've known Barclay since we were both kids. Not really, we're still kids, but we go way back. And Barclay is just one of the most talented people in this industry when it comes to product design and development across the home furnishing spectrum. You have so many wonderful things going on. So I had to write down notes and help myself remember a lot of what he's got going on. You probably can't even think of everything.
Sometimes I have a hard time.
Yeah.
So I'll wait for Christine to cue me when I forget.
Okay. But I know retail, you have some retail showrooms. And you have, let's see, your collections with, help me out, with Lexington.
So I have Lexington Home Brands home furnishings collection indoor, about 253 SKUs, the largest launch in High Point history for one season.
Oh my goodness.
And that's two collections, Brentwood and Newport. I have exterior with Castell Furnishings. And that's two collections also, Palm Springs and Signature Collection, which we do show Nurasan's new outdoor product for me over there at Castell. And we show Nurasan's indoor product for me at Lexington Home Brands. So in addition to that, I have Bradburn Lighting, Cravat Textiles, Mirror Image Home, Art, Left Bank Art, MDC Wall Covering, Eastern Accents Bedding, Napa Home and Garden is one of the newest, and that's actually
Beautiful.
a beautiful. We've done a great job with Napa, so I'm very happy with that.
And there will be a test on all these names tomorrow, so I hope you took notes.
There's 10 licenses in all,
Okay.
yeah.
I think.
Well,
Jane?
I was going to ask what started it all? I mean, where do you start when you're doing the licensing game and business? What came first?
You know, I actually started retail showrooms 25 years ago in Newport Beach. So I went into that category. It grew very, very quickly. We currently employ 50 people, 22 interior designers. So that's a very big operation with showrooms in Newport, Corona del Mar, and Park City, Utah. So, and then in addition to that, I have the licensing side. We got into wholesale, actually, and that's how you remember me, is I used to do Interhall. And so I did the trade shows.
I remember you too.
Yeah. But so we used to do trade shows. And then I had the opportunity to meet the Cravat family about 15 years ago, and they got me started in the licensing category. So I was am very thankful to the Cravat family for getting me started in this business.
Okay, now let's talk about Nurasan.
Okay.
You have a new outdoor collection, Lido, I believe,
Correct.
is the name. Tell us a little about that, and I guess it would fit in with some of your furnishings at Castell, the outdoor line. Yeah.
Actually, I believe we've placed some of the Lido indoor also in some of our showrooms. So it's a very good indoor-outdoor living program, synthetic, fully like kid-proof, so it can go indoors, and it has that feel of luxury that can go indoors also. So it's very on-trend color-wise, pattern-wise. It has a little transitional kick to it, which sometimes you don't see from me, but it's very, very on color trend for me. So it's kind of fun that I pushed outside the box for this collection. In addition, I have collections that tie to my home furnishings collections, so you can go back to Brentwood and buy patterns that I've selected directly for Brentwood, and collections that apply directly to Newport for Lexington Home Brands.
Right.
So Nurasan and Lexington are becoming a very good team together, because you always need something that grounds the seating area. There's always that grounding element to a room, and it starts with the carpet. So if you see behind me, this is a carpet that we really developed color scheme wise for my Brentwood collection, which is slightly Asian, a dark burl, with a gray wash hand waxed on it, and this is like an updated Asian fusion kind of feel, but very, very me in the way it's designed, the way it's colored. It really has a fresh feel to it.
That's wool, is that right?
That's wool, yes.
Beautiful. And I have to ask you, one thing that I have seen a lot recently, or just it's kind of, I don't know that I would say surprising, but noticeable. all these performance fabrics and outdoor rugs that are being brought and bought for indoor. I mean, it's crazy. What is this all about? Pets and more kids or something, or just because we can do it?
Crazy parties.
Yeah, crazy parties.
Yeah.
You know, I actually talked about this yesterday. I think that we're living in the fifth room, and I think it's imperative that we bring fashion to the fifth room, being the outdoors. So it's a common kind of like segue to like bring fashion from the interior of the home to the exterior of the home with outdoor carpets, outdoor carpets. So and what's good is the price point of them. It makes it accessible to like everyone. There's interesting retailers that have picked it up nationally and said, you know, this is something we're going to show in the cover of our catalog, and we're going to make it indoor, outdoor, and so it's a really good trend, because it used to be like that you wouldn't see a lot of really cool product for the outdoors, and now you're starting to see that.
And you also mentioned soft, that the outdoor, that it has a really good hand.
It has a great hand
as far
to
as
it.
the new materials and innovation there, I mean, that's important. Right?
Yeah, I mean, you remember when it used to feel really plasticky? Yeah. You go touch my outdoor,
Crunchy.
yeah. It doesn't feel like that at all. It feels very plush.
Well, you're known for your Barclay blue, and I know that's sort of a signature of your designs and your color palettes. Are we still pretty much mired in blue, or are you trickling out and doing some
Well,
other
I
colors?
think that when you look at the collections I've done for Nurasan, I've kind of spread out because of the influence of Brentwood collection with Lexington Home Brands and Nurasan. These kind of things right here tie into Brentwood, which is very celadon and pale blues and kind of a softer palette than just my direct blue and white. So I'll always be known for blue and white, but I have to like venture out and make sure I'm covering my basis in the furnishing industry.
And I love, I mean, these pale and more ethereal tones.
Yeah.
You mentioned Brentwood with the burl and just the medium warm brown. It's such a good combination.
Yeah.
And it's silvery, you know, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have you had much of a chance to walk the market since you've been here?
Actually, I've had more time to walk the market this time because our mornings aren't taken. So I've gone out to like the warehouses that are on the perimeter of High Point and kind of experienced the one of a kind shopping. I've been able to walk a lot of IHFC, which I normally don't get a lot of time to do that. So it has been a little bit more inspirational for me this trip. Usually I'm tied to so many different showrooms that it doesn't give me the time to like see what's going on in High Point.
Right. Let's play a little game here. One thing that Home Accents today is known for are our trends, the sketchbooks that we've done for decades. And this is the result of hundreds and hundreds of new product submissions and trend stories and colors that we see every market. What have you guys seen? Each of you tell me something you've seen at market that a color or a style, something, an inspiration that keeps popping up. Trick question.
I tell you, I've seen a lot of pastels, so which I love. I mean, it's a palette. You know, I'll tell you, my parents were big into finding out their color. Do you remember the days when, like, in the 80s where you found your color? Yeah. So my color obviously is blue, but I work very well. I think it's called the spring palette with pastels. And so when I go and see pastels, of course, it lights me up rather than going like winter, which is more deep plums and chocolates and so on. So I do see a lot of light, bright color going on.
Right.
I just, speaking to that, I saw a lot of colors that I wasn't even sure what they were. So I was like, is that purple? Is that purple? Is it gray? Is it green? Is it gray? Like that sort of iridescence, luminosity, a lot of, reflection.
You know, and going to Paris every year at Maison, I kind of get a color story from Paris. And, you know, it was very peacock, you know, jewel tones. So I think we've softened that feel and gone to a lot of iridescence and pastels, and it's a very pretty feel. When you walk through Inner Hall, you can kind of get that feeling of color that's going on in fashion. So,
Well, you answered that correctly. That's one of our top 3 trends identified from the submissions this time around. We, I can actually read it. Our editors came up with light aqua blue, calming shades of aqua mint, butter, and lilac. The other two major trends, we continue to see the exotic and the tribal and this tassels and shaggy and the ethnic vibe there. And a new thing that we saw called, I believe we call the trend a view askew, but asymmetry and off balance, almost kind of a play to wabi-sabi, but not quite, but just some imperfections that are still fluid and beautiful.
Yeah.
So-
Like stacked cubes that are off, and lamps that aren't symmetrical. You know, I'm seeing that as well. And what you said, what did you just say? You said another one.
The tribal.
The exotic. And I think that plays into, I mean, on two levels. One, the mud cloths and all of that proliferation, but also Art Deco and the more streamlined and the exotic woods, and it's really hot at market.
Nurasan has a large customer, and I met them. I met the buyer yesterday, and I have a animal print called Madagascar, and they brought it back, and that retailer is going to actually carry it. So you can see that we're going back to exotics, which I've done my entire life. I'm a huge leopard, zebra kind of guy. So, but it's interesting to see people pulling from some of the older SKUs that I have with Nurasan and bringing it right back up. So
See, this kills me. I was going to say hot off the press, or before I came here, I was back at the office and we were putting together tomorrow's story for the dailies of what's hot at market. Animals and animal prints have emerged again, as well as floral and fauna, and I think Tracy put an emphasis on roses. But along with animals, believe it or not, birds. We're seeing a lot of birds. Some people like that and some don't. But
when you walk down and you see the adhesive wallpaper, that beautiful bird palette. I mean, or you're seeing this whole cherry blossom with birds. Kind of going back to the, maybe my mom's era where everything was very heavily painted and kind of detailed.
Sort of like the murals.
It's
hand-painted
murals. The murals.
and the
Yeah.
chinoiserie.
Exactly.
Light,
Yeah.
yeah, that's incredible.
That's my influence from my mother,
Yeah.
which I've carried throughout my life. So yeah.
That's great. Well, I know that you're also just have your hands in so many different things. One thing we did in this month's issue of Home Accents the Day that Barclay helped me out with, I wrote a story called Masters of Multitasking. And interviewed a few folks like this who are into interior design and retail and writing books. You have 5 out now, 5 books. And product development and licensing. And the question was not so much what are you doing, but how in the world do you do all this stuff? And I know you have a great staff. And you can
I have
talk
a great
about
staff.
that.
Yeah. You can't do it without I would consider it my family. Sam, who runs the company, has been with me I think 18 or 19 years. Christine's been with me. Well, I've known Christine 20. So and she's handled publicity and licensing for me for 15 plus years. So, but yeah. So I have a really, really good team back at home. Ray, who handles the creative direction. Liza, who handles marketing and social media. So there's a lot of different components to what's going on. Where we just lost my brand manager to a full-time mom. She had her second child, and I'm like, where's my brand manager? So we're working on a new brand manager right now. So yeah.
Send resumes.
Yeah.
What do you love doing the most? Or you don't have to answer this, but is retail more fun? Is product development, putting the pen to the paper, or just finding inspiration for new ideas or new projects?
I think it's a common. I'm a little ADD, so it's like if I'm not doing everything, I kind of get bored. So I love having good clients. I love being in the design business. I love having great employees. I love licensing. I love traveling. So it's kind of a combination of everything that I do that tends to meld together into my career. So, yeah.
I want to know, do you take vacations?
I actually, much to the dismay of my employees, the Kravitz family are taking me to Florence next week, Sunday, and then I go to Barcelona, and then I go to Puerto Vallarta. So I won't be home till like the 15th of May.
Is that a working vacation?
Puerto Vallarta is, yeah. So, yeah. Oh no, working. Oh, I'm sorry. Florence is.
Florence is.
Let me think. Is there anything that you're not doing that you would like to still do? Whether that's in the industry or maybe even a personal. I wish I knew how to.
Well, it's very not talked about, but I did open a real estate firm 2 weeks ago
Oh.
in Newport Beach, California.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
I've branched out into the real estate industry.
Well, let's
So-
just be totally swamped now. Why don't we? My
Yeah.
goodness.
So
Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
great.
thank you.
All right. Jane, do you have anything else?
Well, I just think that sounds like a brilliant new extension.
Yeah.
Makes complete sense.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see where that leads.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
How about a free draw on the rug? I've fallen in love with it. Yesterday I arrived here and I went, oh my goodness, after 4 years, I have found a rug that is going to fit so beautifully with my light blue sofa and love seat, and it's that.
Oh.
So I took a picture and then I thought this was great.
Thank you. Thank you. I think you'll make Alex very happy, who's the owner of Nurasan, because this has been a love struggle to get everything here on time, and Julie Rosenblum has done a great job wherever Julie is. So we're right there, and so it's a marriage of a really good family of Nurasan and myself.
All right. I think that's it.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you guys.
Thanks
I
for
appreciate
coming.
it.